Creating conversations. It's what we do. Arrow.net. ARROE.net. All right, let's do it. Let's do some pod crashing. Episode number 170 is with Sarah and Alicia from the podcast LoveStruck Daily.
Wonderful. How are you today?
Absolutely fantastic. I'm just rocked up to get ready to start talking about LoveStruck. I mean, first of all, for you guys to do this is just wide open in the way that, you know, it's like you talk about subjects that people want to talk about, but they can't find anybody to talk about it with.
Yep, pretty much.
Do you sit down with a notebook saying, what did you hear at Starbucks today? All right, let's work on that one.
We have a fabulous research team, and we are busy finding true love stories from the present and from the past. So there's lots of hidden love stories in history that were covered up or were pushed aside that we don't know about. But there's also the absolute joy of hearing how two people met and fell in love right now. Right, Alicia?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the good news is there's no shortage of, you know, this is how we met stories or this is how we live our lives stories. So I don't think we'll ever run out of material. I think, if anything, the problem is which story do we pick?
You're so right about that because, I mean, during the pandemic, I needed to be with people, and I thought, where are people at? I'm going to go to a grocery store and get a job. I thought, I've never worked at a grocery store. But I'll tell you what, in watching people who've been married from 5 years to 60 years, the stories are mind-blowing.
Aren't they, though? I mean, the longer you have a time of your life in common with another person, people almost develop like a language to talk to each other. I think there's a word for it. It's familect, a family dialect. You develop a language between you, and sometimes it's just adorable.
I've always seen love as being what happens when two angels are sitting on a cloud saying, so what do you want to do today? Well, how about if we get this one to meet that one? All right, let's see how long it works.
What good imagery.
I mean, the title alone is LoveStruck. I love the fact that you pick a name like that because it's you're going, wait a second, I'm going to go check this out and see what's going to happen. In fact, one of the things that you guys put focus on is it a numbers game? Is it about 200 dates? Is it about one date? And what is it like to, you know, I mean, is it a numbers game?
It's a great question because I've been married for more than 20 years and I met my husband in high school. So I've never dated. Like, I met a really cute guy with a mullet in Spanish class and, you know, hold all calls, we have a winner. Whereas as long as I had known Alicia, we've been friends for a long, long time, she had been dating and I would listen to her stories and just be aghast. Like, this is a thing that you do? How do you do this? And I'll give you a little spoiler. One of our episodes for Valentine's Day, it features a person who works at Hinge, the dating app, right, Alicia?
Oh. Right, yeah, and she's the director of relationship science there, and so she's going to come on and basically tell us how to optimize our love lives and our profiles to best find love. And gosh, I wish I'd had this back when I was dating, because I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years, not the lifetime that Sarah has with her husband, but you know, before that, I was just what you call a serial dater. I was on all the apps. I was trying everything. And so for me, it was a numbers game. And, you know, for Sarah, it wasn't. And I love knowing that we, you know, all have different paths to kind of come to the same place.
Yes, and we all want that same thing, right? We want to be appreciated and loved for who we are, and there's a million different ways to get there.
Well, that's the tough part for a lot of marriages and stuff like that is you love me for me, don't love me because you're trying to shape me. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Right, Alicia?
Very much, yeah. I mean, one of the things that we talk about often on the podcast, and actually we talked about this past week, we had Lamorne Morris from New Girl come on and talk about his character Winston in the show, and one thing that kept popping out is that the best thing about his character was that he really wanted to be loved for himself, and I do think that's a universal experience. You do want to be loved for yourself.
Absolutely.
I always, accused myself of being codependent because I got divorced on June 21st, 1993. I got married on July 11th, 1993. But my current marriage, 29 years strong. But it's like, how the hell did this even happen? I wasn't even a single man for 2 months.
Well, first of all, congratulations. That's a really long time to be with somebody, and I hope you guys are really happy.
Absolutely. Boy, I learned that lesson when we went into lockdown. I went, my God, I really did marry the right person.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, it's so hard to figure out how to be with somebody in a normal environment. When you're in the same house with somebody all the time, you really learn how to get along with people. I know that was definitely the case for me. And I mean, and to be honest with you, Alicia's story is even better because she met her boyfriend right at the start of COVID.
So how did you deal with that? I mean, it was a pandemic.
Yeah, we met like a month before the pandemic started, and so it really became a case of, do I really like this person, or do I want to be locked up with them, or is it not there? And I think for us, it worked out great, and I just think the pandemic really helped a lot of us understand what we want in love, and if you're looking for love now, I think it's such a different time and place to be out there, but it's also an exciting place to be out there.
And I remember when you guys were starting to get together, you had to figure out, okay, is this person going to be part of my bubble? And then, nobody could get a haircut. You couldn't get your eyebrows waxed. You couldn't do all the normal things. And you'd be like, look, I'm going to show up as my ungroomed quarantine self, and you're going to have to accept me as I am.
Oh, my God. I still haven't cut my hair. It's in the middle of my back, and people go, when are you going to cut that stuff off? I said, when COVID-19 is over. That was my guarantee to myself.
Well, you're going to have to learn some intricate braiding techniques, I think.
How important are the ancient love letters? And the reason why I bring that up is because I still come across the little poems that I used to write for my wife and things like that. And I'm going, oh, my God.
Oh,
very important. Right, Alicia?
Yeah, very important. And I think texts are the same way nowadays, maybe. I do regret that we're not sending as many love letters.
Yep.
We did an episode with a fantastic English professor from Cornell who talked about Virginia Woolf's love letters to her lover, and it was so wonderful and sweet, and all I could think was, all I have are texts. I don't have any email. I don't have even email with my boyfriend. I wish I had love letters to pass down. So as soon as we were done with recording that podcast, I went in the living room. I said, we're writing each other love letters on paper.
So during the journey in creating the podcast, did you have the people on the sidelines going, why a podcast? What is a podcast? Sure, I've heard of it, but what are you trying to do here?
Well, I've been podcasting for more than 10 years. Nice. So when this opportunity came up, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I love it. Let's do it. Because the show is short. Every episode is maybe 15 minutes. Perfect. Sometimes there's 17 minutes, which is just a lot. And that's the perfect amount of time to just get a little boost in your day. Like if you listen to the news in a 20-minute span, by the end of it, you're going to feel kind of glum, especially lately. But we can turn that around with a short, true story. And the lovely thing about podcasting is that it happens on your time, and whenever you need that boost, we're here for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. See, that's what I love about the favorites list on iHeartRadio.
For us is that we get to talk to each other, so that's really nice. Because
Alicia and I have been friends for a really long time.
Well, yeah. you can tell that you've been friends because the conversation that you have, what happens is that sure, you're talking back and forth, but you don't make me feel like I'm invading your conversation. I'm right there with you because I'll sit there and I'll talk.
And the thing I love about podcasts is that you're being given permission to eavesdrop on a conversation. Yes. But when you have a conversation with people who are already friends, you're being invited into their friendship. And what we want to do is invite people into our show to tell us their love story. And we absolutely want to hear it. So I'm glad you're hanging out with us today.
Yeah. So now, what about the stars above? So many people are, they still read the stars, or like my wife does. She likes going outside and she'll go, well, I wonder if our daughter is looking at the same star I am right now. And I'm going, oh my God. I mean,
beautiful. I love that.
But the stars play a major role in people's love lives, right?
Oh yes, especially for Alicia.
Yeah, I grew up with astrology being a big part of my life. My mom's very into it, and so she had my birth chart read when I was born. She had, she kind of is very on top of that. Calls the astrologer if there's anything going on in our lives. But Sarah was not brought up that way. So we actually had an astrologer on to talk about, how the stars can affect our love lives and how they sort of shape our paths. And one thing that I found really interesting is Sarah and I are both Geminis, and we were talking about that birthdays. And she said, I like to say there's no coincidences. Thanks. And my wedding date is actually your birthday, Alicia. And I went, everything is predetermined.
Wow. Do you ever sit back at a Starbucks or a fast food restaurant and try to write the story of the people that you've never met in front of you? Sit there and go, well, he was probably a pharmacist and she came in and she needed some help. And because she fell in love, it was because he was listening to her. Do you ever try to create those stories?
That's literally Alicia's job.
Yeah. I've been writing romance novels and rom-coms for about 10, 12 years. So I've been doing that. I think my whole life, though. I don't think I've ever not people watched and thought, oh, how did they meet?
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up on the cutting room floor, or do you guys have that opportunity to be a part of that? Because, I mean, with my podcasting and stuff like that, I'm in full control. Do you guys get that opportunity as well?
I edit my own podcast, Smart Podcast, Trashy Books.
Yeah.
But this one, we have an editorial team. And the nice thing is, because we've recorded the whole interview, Alicia, who is so talented with video editing, takes our extras and we make bonus content. So you get behind the scenes footage and we get to share that with people on our social media platforms.
See, and that's the part that people want now. They want that extra benefit. They want an incentive of why do you want me to come back tomorrow? Give me a reason why I need to be there.
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you the reason to come back to us is that every day we're going to make you feel great. I have a friend who emailed me last night and said, I love your podcast. The minute I finished listening to the news podcast, I listened to yours and I just feel so much better.
I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the things that I've talked about for the past year is that we've become so addicted to the headlines that if you know we have a romance with bad news, and you guys are that escape, and you're still talking about things that affect the emotion, but not in the way that CNN is doing it.
Exactly. Right, Alicia?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so much, we call it doom scrolling, where you just sit there for hours and scroll through whatever social media you have up trying to, find something good in it. So we just wanted to make a little corner of the internet where we will make you feel good. Whatever is going on in the world, we will make you feel good about something. And I think especially now it is essential that we have some hope about other people and what they can bring.
So what's more important, steamy secrets or candlelit dinners?
Both. Why not both? I want both.
Yeah, let's have both.
As a matter of fact, I want a candlelit dinner with my favorite foods while we talk about steamy secrets. That sounds like a great evening.
Yeah.
I was with Ted Nugent the other day, and he said that one of the things that couples need to do in longevity is you need to sit around a campfire, because you could be mad at each other, but within minutes, you guys will sit there and start talking about fun things in life. Do we need to start having campfire moments?
Why not?
Yes, I think so. One of the best pieces of advice I heard recently was every now and again to ask your partner, how can I support you? Am I supporting you well? And I think that's really nice, because it's not necessarily a thing where, what can I do for you? It's just, you're getting out in life and you're doing a great job. How can I help you more? And I think that's essentially what you would do around a campfire, right? Just chat with each other and learn what you can do for the other person.
Yeah. And there's also a bit of magic that comes when you're talking to someone and sitting next to them. You ever notice that when you're in the car with someone and you're both facing the road, I mean, hopefully whoever's driving is facing the road, you end up having these great conversations because you're not looking at each other. It allows you to be with someone next to them, going in the same direction or looking at the same thing, but also talking about what's on your mind, and you get some really lovely conversations with people that way, which is one of the reasons why I love road trips.
That's so interesting that you bring that up, because one of the things that my wife and I do is that we make sure that we have places where we can be in separate rooms. And she goes, why do you like doing that? I said, because I'm forced to listen. I can't watch. I don't look out the window at things. I don't sit there and watch TV. I have to listen, and that teaches me to be a better listener.
Absolutely. And listening is so important. And people don't realize that it's both a skill that you can learn and a way of demonstrating how much you care about somebody. Not only just seeing them, but hearing them. That's really important.
Don't you think that
there's too many distractions?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
It's nice to just concentrate.
Say that one more time, please.
Oh, I said there's so many distractions in the world. I mean, our smartphone alone holds so many distractions. So it's nice to be able to just stare straight ahead and listen and absorb what the other person's saying.
And that's one of the very reasons why I won't, have a conversation looking at somebody else on the phone, because I really like listening to the conversation on the phone. I don't need to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you. Listening is a skill, and it is a gesture of affection, 100%.
Wow. You guys have got to come back to this show anytime in the future. I love talking with you. You guys are just brilliant, and listeners need to find you, discover you, and use you as the tool that you are, as well as entertainment. There's a lot of entertainment in this involved as well.
There is. And the truth is, love stories are all around you, and everyone has one. So if we inspire someone to ask the people in their lives, how did you meet? How did you guys get together? How did you guys become friends? Those are really lovely stories that you might not know otherwise unless you ask.
Excellent. Well, you two be brilliant today, okay?
Yeah, right back at you, sir. Thank you.